Hey, what's going on, everybody? About 5 o'clock. Figured I'd try to do. I'm trying to chop up the videos, so instead of having one long one on Sunday, kind of split it up. So one on Sunday, one on Wednesday, and kind of mixing up days and time of day. So I'm doing the videos. So this time of night, the sun is on the other side of the house. It's actually a lot cooler this week. Even dropped into the upper 70s, where the week before was, mid 90s. I think next week is low to mid 80s, so drastic temperature change. Started cutting down the onions and put a bunch of them in the dehydrator. That was actually a pain at the size of the onions and the amount. But I need to get in and chop the rest of these down, and probably going to end up tossing those out, using some, but the effort to hit it in the dehydrator and the amount of time and what I'm going to use it for, it'd just be a waste of that effort. So, and I should have trimmed them earlier. If I would have trimmed them earlier, it would have been a little easier. Not as big as a lift, as we'll call it. The container potatoes doing really well. I'm hoping that these in the fabric buckets or fabric pots, whatever you want to call them, hope that they do well underneath. We'll find out in a couple of months. But like I said before, they're all planted at the same time. There's no extra fertilizer in anything, and these are doing a lot better. There's also 4 plants in these buckets where there's only 1 plant or 1 potato, 1 seed potato in each of these. So, but they are, 2.5 times as tall. Blue Lake green beans, no aphids, but there's something eating the leaves up a little bit. You can see the beans are starting. So give it a week or two, we'll have plenty of Blue Lake green beans. The cucumber plant, crispy critter at the top, not bad looking at the bottom. I did cut off the cucumber and eat the one that was there, so that actually was really good. Not a lot going on here. Well, there's a little one. It's just not all that healthy. I mean, there's a couple. Corn is doing its thing. We'll see what happens. That's now taller than I am. I'd say about 6.5, 6 3/4 feet tall. Let's see. The right side is the dragon tongue. The left side is the rattlesnake, and this is all the tongue of fire. And some of it's climbing, some isn't. So, I've been picking beans as I go and eating them off of here. There's not a ton on here right now. I was hoping to see some of the rattlesnake beans. Oh, there's a little bean. No stripes on it yet. And same thing for the dragon tongue. Real curious to see what they look like. Snap peas and pea pods, there's plenty of water in here. I'm guessing it just doesn't like the weather. The snap peas, not super productive. The pea pods, a little bit better. Cucumbers, I'm actually going to go through the back side here real quick. So these are all Diva cucumbers. These are all planted in dirt. These are all the self-wicking tubs, which I probably need to do an update and talk about the self-wicking tubs. Not a lot of cucumbers yet. There's a lot of blossoms underneath, and they're starting to climb the trellis. It's also leaning forward, so I have to be careful and try to get the plants and train them to come up the trellis. But the ones in dirt are real healthy. The seeds that I started in the rockwool plugs, they're inside. They probably need about another week. They're just starting to get the roots out the bottom of the plugs where they could be transplanted into a tote or a bucket or a barrel. The radishes, like I talked about, I think I need to scrap those and start over. They've been there too long and they're barely growing, so I'm going to chalk it up to poor weather. Strawberry plants have been doing excellent. I picked a bunch of strawberries this morning, actually. I'll see if I remember to wedge a picture in the video. We'll see what happens. Watermelons are starting to do their thing, and then really the rest is not much for updates. That was supposed to be dill. There's one little plant in there for like a month, so I probably need to scrap that and replant that. The spinach that was in there, did that at the same time. There's a couple, the smallest little spinach plants, for as old as they are, they should have been picked and eaten by now. Not a lot to say about that part. And then just a great progress on the mini apple tree. And that's really it. The onions aren't doing too bad. Let me see if I can get a good picture in here. So they're doing their thing. Some of them are a little closer together than others. You can see some of the onion heads hanging out in there. So get this all trimmed down, and so it's looking like this. And same thing with the ones over here in the cloth buckets. Like I said, first time growing onions, so plenty of green onions coming out my ears, and then once the onions get mature, go through that process of drying them and see how long they store and kind of go from there. But I mean, for $13 for all the onion sets in this tote, and I think if I do it again next year, I'll ditch the 3 buckets and I'll put a third tote, and that covers all the 50 to 75 onion sets for the $13 from what was it, Dixon Farms or whatever in Texas. I'll try to again insert an iCard, but that's all new for me to do the editing and do the iCards, so it's not hard, just have to do it and get her done. And like I said, strawberries, so these are all last year's plants. There were 6 plants in here. I cut one out as I did in one of the earlier videos this year, stuck it in the fence post, and then I took it back out and replanted it. I don't know if that's the one in the center here or if it died, and then everything else in here is a runner that got cut and put in, so they're not really producing much. But these didn't do real well last year, so it's taken a year for them to do their thing and get healthy. There's some good sized berries growing on all the plants. Not a lot of ripe ones because, like I said, I picked them earlier. So other than that, that's all the current updates. We'll see what happens. I like to see the cucumbers in the totes doing better, but it's an experiment.